True or false? Black people can't be racist.
That's false.
Racism, I'm not really sure. But prejudice, definitely.
I think it's a human thing. It's really sad when I see the black people or the African people, when they truly lose the flame of the heart and the warmth of the heart, and they become stone cold towards others.
Only a couple of weeks ago, I was in Italy and I was accosted by someone in the street. Hey man, we're from the same country, we're from Africa, you should talk to me. There was this assumption that because I have the same skin colour or tone as somebody else, that we're from the same country, or at least from the same continent, but absolutely not.
If I was to say a greeting or say a comment in a particular way that works for me but doesn't work for the other person, I get teased about that.
Sometimes it's comments as well, like, oh, you're very dark, where are you from?
On social media, there was a lot of talk about team light skin, team dark skin.
I think it comes from a place of wanting to protect people from being policed by others, and so we sort of regulate ourselves and put really stringent criteria on what a black person should do, you know, what's considered black.
I've tried to develop my self-esteem over the years to the point where I don't let it bother me.
You know, people will just comment on your appearance about anything you're doing. So,
does tribe matter? No, not at all. It shouldn't. But the other answer in our communities, it does.
I think in the African context, tribe does matter.
It's sad to see some different tribes and cultural communities from our home countries coming here to Australia, the land of multicultural, and still forming their own group.
Unfortunately, the tribal conflict has been brought across to the Western countries, and particularly here in Australia.
I would love African Australians from different backgrounds to come together, be a single body, and respect and appreciate the diversity that we have.
True or false? Some black people don't feel like they belong.
True. It's sad to say that, but a lot of African, they felt sometimes isolated, they felt sometimes being ignored, and this is true.
Oh, that's probably the most true statement I've ever heard in my life. I don't really feel like I fit in with white Australians, but I also don't feel like I fit in with African Australians either, because the slight difference being while our skin tone is similar, we don't have the same cultural background of history.
Oh my God, that's exactly me right now. I feel that I don't belong sometimes because I don't know many other black people in this country in Australia.
Black history, while vague, doesn't really give a origin in Africa, so there's a bit of a disconnect as far as origin, and it kind of leads to a feeling of, I guess, identity crisis, if you will.
What stereotypes exist within the African community? There's so many stereotypes I can think of.
This group is more violent, or this group is known for, you know, cheating.
the idea that Nigerians are heavily involved in scams, although I've received scams from lots of different places.
Stereotyping is just that voice that says you're guilty before you are innocent.
It then becomes like a real challenge, say for instance, for the second generation or the generation that's born here to move away from those kind of prejudices.
From a very basic level, it just restricts you. It restricts your social circle, it restricts your learning and your growth. You just miss out on people if you stereotype them.
You can't change the color of your skin you're born with.
If you stick to a stereotype, then everyone's the same. And we know that everybody is absolutely different. Nobody comes from the point of view of just being curious and asking questions. It's just, this is all I know, and this is what I know to be true, without actually questioning their own ideals or their own sort of way of thinking.
Have you ever been told you're not black enough? Oh, hell yeah.
Yes, it happened before.
Not in so many words, but sometimes it becomes clear that your choices are not the typical choices. Sometimes it's an internal voice thinking, will people judge me for this choice?
It causes outrage in me because black isn't just about color, it's about culture. It's about self-identification.
I did have some moments when people from the black communities in Sudan that this our land, go to your land, and this is my home country, where should I go?
True or false? Being black, it's always easy to fit in with other black people.
I'm going to say true, only because I have willed it to be so. In previous instances, I would say false, because different cultural identities, different connections, there's certain ways that we kind of have an unspoken connection as black people, but it's not always the case. So if you lead by example, being like a welcome energy, I have found that many people have been receptive to that, even if we don't have the same background.
False. I think the element of colorism is sometimes overlooked. Personally, when I'm around other black people that are of a lighter hue, I do feel out of place. And sometimes people do go out of their way to make sure that you feel like you're not part of that group.
Have you ever felt like you had to be racist to fit in?
Putting someone else down doesn't lift me up in any way, so it's something that I don't really feel presently, but I have felt it in the past.
Racism has no place in any aspect of our life.
I don't think that racism is something that should be encouraged by anybody.
Especially inside the black communities, because they are suffered a lot from different types of racism. We should embrace each other and try to appreciate our diversities.
Do you ever wish you had lighter or dark skin?
This is a tricky one, because growing up, sometimes I would question myself around, why do I have to be like this type of skin tone? Why can't I be like a nice, lighter skin tone? And that's not because of my own thoughts, it's because of the influences around us.
The answer to that is no. Absolutely. I'm really, really comfortable with my skin tone. When I was about 12, I remember thinking that I wanted to be like my white friends because I wanted to fit in. But nobody ever said that you're fine just as you are.
They say if you have a fair skin, you tend to be more handsome.
You know what? I should be proud of who I am. I should be proud of what God has created me to be.
I didn't want to be white, but I wanted to be lighter. I was very dark as a kid. I would get really sad if I was given brown bread instead of white bread because maybe the brown bread had made my skin dark.
All right. If you could change your race, would you do it? Oh, hell to the no. I love being black. I love living in this melanated body.
Oh, definitely not. Definitely not. Everything that's happened has got me where I am now. No, I wouldn't. I would not change my race.
Absolutely not. I am happy with my race. It allows me to be a point of difference.
In a black body, you cannot be hidden. There is no such thing as fading into the background. I used to tell my son, if they're going to look, then give them something to look at, you know, scratch your stuff, my mother used to tell us. I would not change it for the world.
True or false? Casual racism is a thing only white people do.
Everyone can make statements that, whether they mean it or not, is casually racist. You can be like, oh yes, I assumed XYZ about you.
Casual racism is the kind of racism that's so normalized that it feels like part of a culture.
Have you ever been told you don't sound black? I have been told that I don't sound black every other day of my life.
Yes, by other black people, basically saying that, yeah, you sound too white, or you speak so proper. Apparently black people don't speak properly.
I was bullied most of my childhood for not sounding black. I was too black for the white kids and I was too white for the black kids. There's no black monolith of what someone should sound like or be like. We sound different, we do things differently, we have different customs. The black experience is not a universal experience.
Somehow people are also surprised by my intelligence. And that's one that kind of hits you in the gut.
True or false? Small racist incidents don't really matter. False. false. If it's happening to you, several times a day or several times a week, that's the sort of, it wears you down.
They appear to be harmless, but they're usually the worst. Because they catch you on a mental loop where you start wondering, what was that all about?
Small racist incidents always matter.
I think that any commentary relating to racism is unacceptable. Sometimes things slip out of your mouth and people make mistakes. But I think in that moment in time, if we can just acknowledge that's not acceptable, that's not an appropriate comment, and educate that person perhaps as well too around the feelings of those comments.
I think we all need to work really hard to make sure that those sorts of things don't happen.
Okay, true or false? Some African cultures are better than others. Can I skip this? I'm only joking. Everyone has their pros and cons, so I can't say that one is better than the other.
This is the problem. I don't think we should be thinking about my country is better than your country and because that just creates this whole divide.
Looking at the African countries within themselves, they have amazing food, amazing culture, dance, languages, beauty, clothing, everything.
Every African country has something. Embrace all of it.
Your name is hard to pronounce. Why don't you just sing it? People carrying family names from generation to generation, they're carrying those names. Your name are your identity.
Being three things, being Arab, being African, and being Muslim, sometimes it's hard in some societies here.
Have other Black people ever mocked your culture?
Yes, sir, I have had people mock our culture. A lot of our families are big. And I've had people mock that, making comments like, why are there so many kids in certain families? Why do they need to buy a Toyota Kluger if they can't afford it?
So many times I meet people who have never met a Black American before, and they assume that I'm a rapper, they assume I'm a basketball player, they assume that I am the coolest person that's ever walked around them because they saw it on TV. People would look at that like, oh, why are you different? We look the same, but you grew up in a different place. And my genetic lottery doesn't make me better or worse than anyone else, but for someone to mock that, I know it's coming from a place of hurt, so I never personally take it offensively.
A healthy life, as well as being proud of it, is also part of your psychological well-being. So no one should feel ashamed by his culture.
There's only one Black culture, right? No, there's so many. Oh my goodness, there's so many.
Africa means unity and brotherhood. It's the motherland of all humanity.
Black culture depends on where you stand, where you're from, where you grew up in. But Black culture can be African culture. It can be Australian culture. Indigenous people are Black, even though they spell B-A-L-A-K. It's still Black culture.
You just have to ask the right questions. You have to be curious. Each person is an individual. Each country is unique, and it's individual as the next one.
Are Black people from different parts of Africa too different to get along?
No, I wouldn't say that at all.
No, we have a shared history, and a lot of our culture is the same.
You need to be open-minded, accept the other diversities in different cultures, and try to reflect yours in the most respectful way.
Song lines, food, family. We're very collective people. So I don't think it's necessarily too difficult to get along.
The things that bring us together as Black people are
food, sport, music, community, culture, art. There's a lot that brings us together.
There's an element and there's a really nice sort of togetherness when we share, So I think it's just about sharing.
How do Black people discriminate against others in work and business?
I think the problem is that there's a lot of insecurity around success.
A lot of people working with Black businesses often hope for a mates rates discount of a small business. That business could be that person, their partner, and two of their friends trying to make the ends meet with all the taxes and all the legislation. So to give someone a mates rates discount on a small business could make or break whether they pay rent that month.
Time and time again, you do see a lot of conflict between African service providers. Sometimes it's questions around this person's getting more funding than that person. Other times it's about not thinking about the person getting this opportunity because they worked hard to get there.
True or false? Institutional racism is a thing of the past. False.
We wish. We wish.
Oh, that's absolutely false.
With racism and any kind of racism, it's very hard to pinpoint.
The definition of racism that gets the most airtime is the verbal abuse, on a bus that's filmed and posted on YouTube, the sort that everyone can say, oh, well, that was very bad, and that person is very bad, and I would never do that. But it's actually our institutions and the inequalities that are entrenched in them which probably does the most damage.
The pathways of studies that might not always be that direct, or your previous knowledge is not acknowledged, and so you have to do another course as a pathway into where you want to go. So those are some ways in which racism exists in institutes.
Also, it's really important because it's so invisible and it's easy to dismiss. When you entrench an inequality, it then has a huge impact on someone's chance at making, what they want out of their life.
Oh no, it is very present. We just don't talk about it. It's like a Loch Ness monster. We need to identify when the tail is up, the ear is up, the nose, till we see the whole monster. But it is there, and it will keep growing if we do not identify and all of us go after it and kill the beast.
How has your family been impacted by institutional racism? How has your family not been impacted should be more the question.
I'm an electrical engineer, and as a woman, and as an African woman, it's almost like that is uncharted territory. And sometimes people assume either you can do the work based on the color of your skin. They don't expect you to be as good as your colleagues sometimes. So when you're talking of institutionalized racism, I've always believed that racism can wear a robe, racism can wear a suit. But people don't call it racism because it can be professional. It can be being paid under, it can be being given more work and you're expected to do triple amount of work for less amount of money in a way that it's already accepted because it's already part of a system.
I think it's really important that if you care about racism or if you care about just being a fair human being, you actually need to go out and learn about institutional ways that we entrench inequality. Because if we can change those, we can actually move the needle on people's experiences way more than just dealing with the sort of interpersonal issues.
Are you aware of racism between Black people?
Frankly speaking, in Sudan, there is some sort of racism happening between the different tribes. It's sad to see those beliefs also imported here in Australia.
I don't think it's about skin color. There can be discrimination between different races, even within the community. We have tribalism, we have nepotism, we have colorism. I have been discriminated by a Sri Lankan who looked more like me.
I think it's very important that people speak up and address racism, like discrimination within the Black community, because the word community is the core there. People are social creatures. We're supposed to be building together, and picking little things to divide us is actually causing harm to us as a group.
Have you ever stood up to racism?
Yeah, all the time. When jokes are made, I'm like, that's not really funny. No, I don't find that funny. Did you mean to be offensive?
Making racists explain why their joke was funny is the best way to kill the joke immediately. Knowing what it's been like to have someone stand up for me in a situation where I felt powerless or I felt like I was being ganged up on, nothing feels better than feeling like someone else has your back.
When I see injustice, I can't keep my mouth shut. So yes, I stand up for racism all the time.
Could you ever be friends with someone from a different part of Africa? Yeah, I already am. I wouldn't see any reason not to be.
Yes, definitely yes.
It doesn't have to be a barrier. In fact, it can be fun to learn about people's cultures and to take part in them.
This would definitely enrich your life. You can learn something new from those different cultures.
I want to learn more. I want to understand more. And I kind of want to be an ally.
Is it wrong to marry outside your community? No, it's not. Honestly, I'd be a hypocrite if I said it was, because I've married outside my community.
Some people say love has no race, love doesn't discriminate, and I truly believe that as well.
There's so much more connection and community and growth that we can have from meeting people outside of your community.
Marriage is something significant we do for life. You just need to choose the best person. And if that person happens to be outside your community, so be it.
Is an intercultural relationship worth it? Yeah, absolutely. I love it. From my perspective, when I've seen an African woman marry a non-African guy, I really like that because he's really open to knowing about that African woman's culture and also about her community and also about her identity. And on the flip side, same thing.
I think that's like any relationship, because you invest so much time, emotion, energy. If there's shared understanding and genuine respect, I think it's worth it.
I'm very happy with the choices that I've made. It opens up your world. I've tried a lot of things I wouldn't have tried, and so has my husband and his family.
I really value seeing intercultural relationships where you see one child that has got a father from Nigeria and say a mother from Somalia, and the child is able to relate to both identities and both culture.
The question of whether it's worth it suggests that there may be some cost to it. I think there's a cost to any relationship. It's worth finding the person that complements you the best.